Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome back towards this new stream here on the channel. And on today's stream I will be talking about Bitcoin, of course, but as well I will be talking about Terra Luna and its proposal, because it looks to be there's a little bit rigged here, and are there things behind that we don't know already. And currently we're seeing a lot of things coming together and making up our opinion and making up our view what is actually going down there at Terra Luna. So guys, on today's video, we're going to discuss a lot of interesting things, so I definitely suggest to you guys out there to stick around till the end of this update video. Make sure to already slap up the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, guys, let's jump right away in towards the content. So, what are we seeing over here? First of all, let me start off over with discussing the Bitcoin price section before moving in towards the Terra Luna FUD or Terra Luna stuff we're currently have to be discussing here. But what we're seeing, and let me fix my camera here. What we're seeing here is that Bitcoin came down over the course of last night here, and currently I do have some opinions on this market. Because yeah, Bitcoin is falling down a little bit here. However, while Bitcoin is falling down, we can see that the fear in the market is really disappearing a little bit. We're currently touching 13, while 2 days ago, we're touching a single digit number. Exactly the number 8 we were touching. So yeah, the fear is really getting restored a little bit here, and the fear was of course way higher 2 or 3 days ago due to the stablecoin FUD that was still in the market at that point. Right now, we can see that markets were getting dragged along towards the downside due to the S&P 500, due to the Nasdaq. But actually, if we're going to compare Bitcoin and the Nasdaq, Bitcoin towards the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, it was actually holding up pretty well here. Of course, we've been looking at a downward slope resistance line from the higher sides here. So far, we have not broke through this resistance range I'm currently looking at. That is pretty unfortunate. However, Bitcoin is coming down again here, and the targets where I would love to see a bounce from off is already the target that we have been starting to be seeing a bounce from off. That was, of course, at 28.6k. You can clearly see previously around provided support over here, and currently we had another touch point on this level. Pretty interesting range to look at right now to get a bounce from on this market. And actually, as long as we're not trading below, let's say 28.5k, I personally think we're still going to be alright for Bitcoin. So, as long as we're holding up the 28.5k, Bitcoin is probably not going to fall down towards another 26k low in the market. Also, pretty interesting to see here is that we're currently trading against the Ichimoku clouds, and you can clearly see in the past, Bitcoin got rejected by them, or either got supported by them, and currently, since we fall down so quickly, we've been consolidating for quite a while here, and right now we're finally seeing these clouds getting touched again, and right away they are providing resistance for the Bitcoin market. So what is going to be very important for Bitcoin is that it is going to be breaking above it. However, at the same time, we can see that these clouds are currently starting to flip bullish here. They're predicting bullish price action in the coming days ahead of ourselves. We can clearly see right now that we're still getting rejected by them, and I will be not flip bullish as long as we're breaking above this range here. And for me, what really has to be happening in order to flip extremely bullish for Bitcoin is definitely a break above the 32.3k, like I've talked about several times before on my update videos. 31.8k towards the 32.2k is this range over here I'm currently drawing, right? This range over here is the level currently to break for Bitcoin. I am going to be flipping extremely bullish on Bitcoin as soon as we do break above the 31.8k, because if we break above it, it's going to just suggest we are going to look for higher targets across this market, and it is just going to suggest that we're going to see massive market increasements from there on. Why? Is because you can clearly see previously around we got rejected by this level, and this is the weekly support slash resistance level. So that is why I'm taking it very seriously that we do have to be breaking above of that range here. So as soon as we do break above the 31.7 towards 32.3k range, I am going to be very bullish for Bitcoin, and that is definitely the level to be breaking right now. Also, taking in consideration that if we're going to look at the EMA ribbon, we can currently see here, we came from, of course, this massive downtrend basically on the EMA ribbon. We flipped it for a very short period of time bullish, but like you can see, we've got rejected every single time along the way down for Bitcoin on this EMA ribbon. And yesterday, we were trading exactly in the EMA ribbon, but of course, another time, another touch, another rejection for Bitcoin. So we moved eventually down even further on from off that point, what is of course definitely a little bit more bad for Bitcoin. And I would definitely love to see, of course, a break above the EMA ribbon for Bitcoin. But like you can see, we've tried it already several times in this current trend we're currently trading in. But so far, we have been not really managing to be breaking above of this EMA ribbon here, and yeah, we just have to just patiently wait. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh. I was muted. Oh my gosh, I was muted. Oh, damn, this is terrible. The beginning 7 minutes of the stream were terrible. Oh my gosh, I was muted. I had talked so much. So, guys, welcome to the stream here. Hopefully, you're doing absolutely all right here. I will be starting over once again here on today's stream. I will be talking. Okay, this is so funny. This is so funny. I read the comments right now. Excuse me. Thank you so much for reminding me. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for jumping into our today's update video. Hopefully you are doing absolutely great here. Make sure to smash up the like button and subscribe to the channel. Excuse me for me being muted on the channel, but let me dive in towards today's content, because on today's video I will be talking about Bitcoin. I will be talking about Bitcoin, and of course I will be talking about what currently is going down here on Terra Luna. There are some very shady things going on over there. Terra Luna apparently got, of course, to pay their taxes back in North Korea. So what is going to be happening right now here? I will be discuss, of course, Terra Luna right now today on today's update video as well. I will be going over Bitcoin. First of all, I was already starting with my Bitcoin analysis. Then we only lost 30 seconds. What? Oh, you got muted while talking about the ribbon. Oh, that is pretty weird. Okay, guys, I actually don't know what was going down over there. Guys, thank you so much for reminding me. So let me go back in towards the actual content over here. So Bitcoin, what are we doing over here? Bitcoin on a daily time frame, pretty interesting developments. Excuse me so much for this. I don't know what happened. Bitcoin on the daily time frame is currently forming a lower low on its time frame right here, right? And at the same time, we're forming a higher low on the RSI. This is of course not a confirmed bullish divergence, but I'm absolutely out of my focus. But this is absolutely one that is currently in creation. So definitely take into consideration that Bitcoin is currently forming South Korea, actually. South Korea is definitely in creation right now here. Excuse me, South Korea. So definitely very interesting to talk about right now here, and I will be definitely dive a little bit more into this content. But first of all, let me talk about these monthly and weekly levels for Bitcoin, right? So if we're going to zoom out, we are knowing that Bitcoin, of course, has been trading against this level several times before. We do know if we're going to zoom out, and of course, if we're going to be setting up Bitcoin up with weekly levels, daily levels, and monthly levels of support or resistance, Bitcoin tends to be reacting very heavily towards it. If you're going to look more in depth about it, you can clearly see on the daily time frame, you can also clearly see that the monthly level for Bitcoin provided here a very strong bounce on the market. And personally, you can see also over here, very strong bounce on the monthly time frame, very strong bounce on the monthly time frame. And once again, we're retesting another time that monthly time frame, and just like back here in the beginning of February, we could be potentially have another bounce from of that monthly level. So we'll be definitely, watch this level right now here to see about how everything is going down right now for Bitcoin. But of course, if we're not going to be bouncing from this range, since we did close clearly a daily candle below it, our next main target to be looking at is going to be 26.2K here. And 26.2K is going to go all the way back here down to the beginning of December 2020. And that was, of course, once Bitcoin was getting rejected and supported by this level. So this is also an important level to look at. And that is why we'll be taking the 26.2K very, very seriously right now, as a level that we could be potentially retrace towards, and where we could be potentially, of course, accumulate very strong positions at. So very, very nice to see so right now for Bitcoin. At the same time, we can currently see on Bitcoin on the larger time frames, guys. I mean, one thing I want to be saying to you guys out there, if I'm going to zoom out here, if I'm going to look at this time frame over here, and if I'm going to purely take in consideration the fundamentals of Bitcoin, am I bullish right now on Bitcoin? I mean, on the imminent short term, everything can be different, right? We just talked that Bitcoin closed below the monthly support level. But what I'm always is that I'm having a bullish long-term vision for Bitcoin. So I personally think that every single 4 years, Bitcoin is going to trade on a higher level, depending on what is going to be happening in the short term, right? So I'm expecting that, of course, in 4 years, Bitcoin is going to be trading higher, but in the imminent short term, we can still trade a little bit lower. And of course, what I think is very interesting on this market right now here is that if we're going to look and zoom in a little bit about the patterns we're currently creating, if we're going to go back here, we can clearly see Bitcoin in the period of January over here. Let me set up, let me use this orange line here. In the beginning of January over here, of course, we formed, of course, this falling wedge here. Falling wedge is one of my most favorite patterns to be trading, and it's also one of the most basic patterns to learn. It's a typical bullish bias reversal pattern with a price target towards the upside. You create such a trend here, usually from a move towards the upside. You consolidate for a longer period of time, and your price target is always going to be at the top side of that falling wedge. And right now, like you can see, it moved up even further. And Bitcoin has been creating these falling wedges several times before in its history. And actually, every single time Bitcoin does decide to create one, it tends to be having a very bullish bias breakout. So what you can see over here is that if we're going to go back here in the summer low as well of Bitcoin, we created also such kind of a falling wedge pattern here. Bitcoin, of course, broke out absolutely bullishly, and we saw, of course, a bullish continuation getting created towards the upside for Bitcoin, just like back in January. And also here in the September correction, what I, of course, traded absolutely perfectly, because this was one very beautiful falling wedge pattern, basically. We also broke towards the upside, and look at this, how significant these patterns are here. So falling wedge patterns are definitely one of my most favorite patterns in the market. And what we can see right now, if we're going to zoom out even further on, the Bitcoin is creating one crazy big falling wedge pattern right now here. And we're currently even having a retest of it. And that is, of course, making myself extremely excited. So if we're going to zoom out here, and if I'm going to look at this market, you can clearly see, of course, first of all, we're having a lot of touch points here. Rejection here, support touch, support touch, support touch, support touch, and another support touch right now here. So pretty important support line we're currently looking at. And Bitcoin at the same time also create a downward slope and resistance line from the higher side. So Bitcoin is just, in this case, right now forming a major falling wedge. And look at every single time. Basically, these falling wedges are first of all starting to become bigger and bigger and bigger. And here one, a very large one. But just take in consideration on how many times Bitcoin already created these falling wedges and how many times it actually did broke bullish. Many times. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is currently bottom out. I am saying Bitcoin is pretty close to bottom. That's my personal opinion about it right now. And of course, if we're going to look at realized losses, etc., I personally think we could argue potentially the bottom is already in, since the pain across the market has already been extremely high. Bitcoin can still come down here, create a big wick on the lower side, but as long as it's closing not below the 27.8k with its daily candle, it is going to be remaining to be trading in this falling wedge pattern. This falling wedge pattern could be, of course, consolidate for quite a while, right? And my face is unfortunately right now in front of it, so I will be moving it a little bit to the right side. But like you can see, this pattern could be taking a potential another 100 days before really unfolding itself here, before really coming closer towards the apex. So what will I say here? Bitcoin can trade in a very boring market for another approximately 100 days or even more from here on. If we're looking back at the basically market low back in 2019 here, we can see after the major crash on the market, Bitcoin took also approximately 100 days here before recovering and before really starting a big move towards the upside. So can Bitcoin trade around 30k for the remaining of this coming 3 months here, for the remaining of Q2 and the beginning of Q2 2022? Yes, definitely a big fat yes. But is it likely that Bitcoin is going to be moving up with time? I personally will also give it a big fat yes here. And maybe there will be a driver, maybe there will be a catalyst, maybe this spot ETF will finally get approved in America. Because what is pretty funny is that every single time Bitcoin, of course, was standing very high in market, every single time the ETFs got denied. But if we're going to look back here, and if I'm going to zoom out, and if I'm going to tell to you guys, you know, when the first Bitcoin futures-based ETF got released here, it was all the way on the top here. You know why? It's because every freaking future ETF, it was basically shorting Bitcoin, and that is why Bitcoin fell down also so heavily towards that lower side, of course. Pretty interesting to look at. So futures ETF, definitely not good. Spot ETF could be driving up the price rather than down the price. So Is this maybe the period where it's literally the different way around here, and where we are going to get that spot ETF for the US getting approved here? Because yeah, we're seeing that Australia is getting a spot, already got a spot ETF for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and maybe we are going to see America following soon afterwards. But basically, looking at this larger scale falling wedge pattern, what I have already discussed several times before in this market is that we are having a pretty insane bullish bias price target. Of course, depending on where we're going to be breaking out, the price target is going to be laying on the top side, basically the all-time high of Bitcoin. And of course, if we're going to be measuring, let's say we're going to get a breakout in the coming days ahead of ourselves, we're going to be looking for an 85% breakout target, what is absolutely insane for Bitcoin. And personally, if I expect, if Bitcoin, let's say, comes back up here to 40k within a matter of a few days here, this is probably going to create a lot of euphoria, a lot of hype across the market, and that could be leading towards, of course, more bullishness. But I'm not going to speculate about that because there are many other levels to witness right now in the market before, of course, moving towards those ranges. I personally want to be taking the 35 to 36k region very seriously. Of course, this region is a very strong resistance zone here, and if I'm going to extend this level, you can see also previously around, we've got massive rejections from off this level. So 35 to 36k is going to be the level for Bitcoin to be breaking above us. And if we're going to talk about levels below us, we're currently trading on one of the most critical support ranges. And give me a second. So currently we are trading on one of the most critical support ranges on the market. And let me make this green here. So I'm definitely aiming for a bounce. Oh, excuse me. I'm definitely hoping to get a bounce from here on, because yeah, if Bitcoin really does decide to not be bouncing from off this level, yeah, things could start to get very, very worse, of course. But what we do know, many of these companies out there in crypto are in the water as long as Bitcoin is below 30k, and that is why every single time once Bitcoin is below 30,000 US dollars, we tend to be seeing a very strong big bounce towards the upside. So yeah, I am not really scared that Bitcoin is going to stay very long below 30k. Yes, just like the pandemic crash, sometimes it can take a little bit while. Just like back in 2019, the bear market, it can take a little bit. 2018, I should say. And 2019, it can sometimes take a little bit while here, but with time, Bitcoin trends up. That's the thing that we should know here. Also, weekly time frame. I mean, so far we're still holding on towards it, and it looks to be that we're currently forming the is it the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candle in the red for Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. Guys, are we going to close literally 56 days in a row in the red? Let's see how it is going to be playing out here. But Bitcoin falling down even further. Another weekly candle, another red one. Will it continue? That is going to be the big fat question right now of today. Of course, there has been a lot of fear in the market, and of course, mainly the driver of this massive correction towards the downside right here is going to be Terra Luna. And Terra Luna is going to be the coin that I will be talking about in a second, so make sure to stick with me, because that is going to be a very interesting topic to talk about. But what we also can see here, dollar index is definitely spiking right now. Here we're seeing a massive peak getting formed across this market, and if we're going to compare Bitcoin in terms of its good and bad buying opportunities, right now we're sitting in stages where Bitcoin is at a good buying opportunity, since the dollar index is extremely overvalued rather than undervalued, and due to that, the chance of a very big Bitcoin move getting started from off this region is just a little bit that higher. So I am not saying Bitcoin is going to be moving towards new all-time highs from off this point here. I am not saying the bottom is necessarily in, but I am trying to be pointing out that we are at lower risk stages. And just like I told you guys out there, if we're going to be thinking 3, 5 or 10 years out here, this could be, of course, a life-changing entry point for Bitcoin. That is what I'm trying to be pointing out right here. This is, of course, an entry point that we should definitely embrace, in my opinion, because yeah, you should not think about tomorrow. You should not think about the day after. In these times where everything is a little bit harder to predict here, and in these times where, of course, I mean, calling a bottom, and we've all noticed it, it's very hard. You're never going to probably catch that exact bottom. So what I'm going to do, I'm dollar cost averaging in this market, so I can get, of course, a very good average entry price. And I personally think that if we're going to think long-term out right now, this is a life-changing entry point for Bitcoin. And of course, in 3 to 5 years from now on, I will be still active on all these platforms, and I will be putting out a quote tweet and see who is loving them. So, of course, what are we seeing right here on the Bitcoin US dollar against the long positions is pretty interesting. They are stalling off here. They're not closing out their long positions currently. The bitfinex wills here, just like last time around here, we saw the same here. Then Bitcoin price dropped a little bit here. Then they added a little bit more, and then we spiked up here. So potentially what I'm expecting, and also if we are going to get the big massive market bounce, right, I am expecting one thing here. If we're going to get get a big market bounce here. I'm personally expecting to see a little bit more downside and then, of course, an explosion towards the upside. That's usually how these market moves tend to go, of course. So, potentially another fake out wick here on the lower side before moving up here could be definitely possible. So make sure, that is what I'm trying to be pointing out here. But guys, make sure that you have got your limit order set up here, so you're definitely not going to be missing out on any opportunities, because opportunity is high. And of course, targets where I would love and where I potentially expect a bounce from off is definitely going to be the 28.2k region. I personally think that this region over here, 28.2k, could be a touch point from the market, and then of course could be a catalyst towards the upside. And of course, if we're looking and zooming in towards the order books, we can see that there's a lot of accumulation going on over there. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin with Ideal, or if you're interested in buying Bitcoin or other altcoins, or basically trading Bitcoin, I would definitely suggest to check out Bybit here in the link description. Bybit is currently offering you a $4,800 deposit bonus. And of course, if you do use my link in the description, you will be getting that deposit bonus. If you won't use the link at all here, you will only get 400. So it's definitely a win-win to check it up right now here. Bybit in the link description is definitely a preferable platform to use to either spot accumulate or either leverage trade or whatever you want to be doing here on this market. Then talking about the fear, currently trading on 13, so not a single digit anymore, where we were trading about 2 days ago here. We're trading on 8. So potentially bottom is already in for the fear. You can see 8 was not reached here since all the way back here in 2019. Not even in the pandemic crash here we reached 8 on the index. Oh, we did reach 8. Sorry, the last time Bitcoin touched 8 on the index for the fear and greed index was March 2020. Pandemic crash, of course. And of course, what we do know is that we have started 3 or 2 days ago as well. So pretty interesting to trade so low in the fear and greed index. We do know, guys, once there is fear in the market, it's one of the best buying opportunities. Buy the fear, sell the greed. So, guys, don't go into say if we're going to have an uptrend again, I will be probably selling into strength here. Many people are going to say, "What are you doing?" But that is going to be my strategy. I'm going to sell into strength. I am buying into weakness, and currently there's weakness in the market, so I am definitely buying. And right now, guys, let me talk about Terra Luna. Because there's a lot of stuff going down here. Of course, first the price action, pretty interesting to look at right here. Falling down very heavily. I've warned you guys, don't buy Terra Luna on the top side where it was 15 billion market capitalization or something. It is already down approximately 70% from of that high. But more importantly, the things that we want to be talking about Terra Luna is the voting. So early polling from Terra vote indicates 91% are in favor of the rebirth. So what we're basically expecting, since 91% of the votes are indicating a yes for Terra Classic and Terra 2.0, we are going to get Terra 2.0. But personally, I am not a big fan of it, like I've already told you about. You can see over here, we're currently having a 77% yes and a 20% no. And that is pretty heavy, because if we were first doing all these other community polls, and it was 90% was saying no, because everyone said no, rather fix the Luna 1.0 and get rid of USD Tether, US Terra, and don't go with that hard fork. But apparently, Do Kwon wants to have a hard fork, because all his venture capitals wants to have their money back, and all the investors want to have their money back. So that is why he's going to go for that hard fork. And you can clearly see that we probably tomorrow, it's already decided, because that's where the quorum is. It's ending in 6 days, but probably tomorrow it's going to be starting to be ending already. But we can see only 20% no. But why is there so much yes votes? Well, the community is definitely saying no, because of course there are some validators that are having more voting power, and you can see that Terra 1 has 2%, and all these yes voters are having many and high amounts of voting power in the system. And of course, the no voters are not having that high voting power right now. But what is very interesting is that as soon as the voting did started, the voting started with 11 million votes on yes. What is this? What does this mean? This is, of course, a little bit rigged here. There's so much mining power, so much of the validators that's probably on the Do Kwon's side are right away voting yes, because apparently he wants to have a hard fork. And we are definitely questioning right now why. And I see some people already saying in the chat that he wants to have a hard fork due to the taxes he has to be paying. Because Terraform Labs owes currently $78.5 million in taxes towards South Korea's government. And that is pretty interesting to talk about because the Terra Luna absolutely crashed here. The reserves, their Bitcoin holdings, they sold it all to try to save US Terra. And they still have to be paying the taxes. But he doesn't have, Terraform Labs doesn't have 78.5 million in the bank right now. So how are they going to be paying these taxes? They can't. There's only one way how Terraform Labs can pay back the taxes to South Korea. Only one way. There's only one way how they can do so. And that is, of course, with the hard fork. So that is why he's always proposing these hard fork ideas. Because that's the only way he can make the venture capitals happy again. And that is the only way how he can, of course, pay back the Terraform Labs. The taxes to South Korea. That's the only way. So let's say Terra 2.0 is going to get started, and what we do know here, if Terra 2.0 comes out there's going to be a lot of these 2-year vesting periods, so there's going to be not a lot of active supply in the beginning, but the team does have a lot of active supply. So what will be probably happening, I will be making a prediction, price is probably going to fall very hard, because venture capitals are going to step away from it as well, and we don't even know if the developers are going to stay, because developers in the cryptocurrency space are very, very high demand. And do you really still want to be working on Terra Luna? I don't really think so, you know? So, yeah, a lot of things going on right here. I personally think as soon as Terra 2.0 comes out here, it's going to be potentially dropping in price, because as well, that coin has to be getting that money out here to pay back the taxes. And that is why I do think so much of the votes are going yes here. Well, it's pretty weird. The community is definitely saying no, right? The community doesn't want to have that yes vote here. The community wants to keep on going with the old Luna. And right now, this Luna, which you're currently looking at, is going to get called, Luna Classic, and the other one is going to called Luna. So it's pretty interesting what is going to go down here. It's 90% sure we're going to have a Luna 2.0 here, and that we're going to have a rebirth of the Luna ecosystem. So pretty interesting about what currently is going on here. And like you can see here, many people are against it, and that is why they're screwing up their community right now. And I personally think something is going on right there, right? It isn't making a lot of sense right now. So they have to still pay approximately $80 million in taxes, and do expect that the money that they will be paying for taxes is going to get pulled out of your money. So that is the whole bad thing about it. They are going to probably use your money to once again pay the taxes to South Korea. Am I going to be investing in Luna 2.0? I don't know yet. Maybe I'm going to get a very good buying opportunity. I don't know yet. I just can't say it yet. But I just have to wait and see how it's going to be playing out. But personally, I think maybe not right away at the beginning, but we do know that in the period of 2 years, we're going to get more than 1 billion supply in circulation, right? In the beginning, it's only going to be maybe 200 million? Maybe 150 million. So price is probably going to run up towards levels around $50, maybe $40, right? So pretty interesting what we're going to see over there. Personally, I think in the end of the day, it's going to collapse once again towards the downside, because they have to be paid, they have to get the money out of it. And it also really depends on how much faith there's going to be in the ecosystem right now, because ecosystems are really dependent on faith, and potentially is going to be once again pull money out of it. So I'm not a huge fan of it. Shady things are going on there right there, and I don't know exactly what is going to happen over there right now here, guys. Also pretty interesting to see here, Russia is to legalize Bitcoin payments. Here is what the minister hints here. I'm personally not a big fan of this, because if Russia is going to legalize Bitcoin payments, is meaning that probably other countries and European countries and potentially the US are going to be putting a ban on Bitcoin. So pretty interesting to see what we're currently having this. I don't think that this is really bullish news for Bitcoin right now, and this could be eventually still drive prices lower, because this could be leading towards more regulatory vision, and also just to a potential ban in other countries, right? So this is not all too good, if you would ask me here. At the same time, we also saw that Shiba, of course, has been burning many of its supply here. And if we're going to look towards how much supply is getting burned, it saw an approximately 800% increasement in the past 7 days here. What is pretty interesting, Shiba, of course, burning more and more tokens, and some people are saying Shiba will be worth $0 by 2030. So let's see what is going to be happening due to Oh, this is a price prediction. I don't know necessarily what this is here. According to a survey by finder.com. But I mean, I'm not really an investor in Shiba. It's a meme coin. So if you're going to lose your money, you should already know it by the moment you bought it, of course. At the same time, still want to be pointing this out. I'm almost pointing this out every single day because I personally think that this is one of the most important charts to look at currently is the Bitcoin realized loss here. Bitcoin realized loss still has seen that spike here, and we do know, guys, I've been pointing this out every single day here. Once the realized loss is spiking on Bitcoin, it means that there are many people selling against the loss, and once many investors are selling against the loss, it usually tends to be showing and indicating a bottom signal for Bitcoin. I'm not saying the bottom is right now in here, and I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't drop even further, but I will be saying to you guys out there, the chance of another massive event towards the downside is definitely very low right here. So yeah, that is one of those many reasons I'm currently still buying more and dollar cost averaging in towards this market, because we got the pain in the market. We feel the pain. We saw the massive correction, and right now we want to be looking towards the next stage. And usually the next stage is a massive market recovery and return in faith in the ecosystem, in the market basically. At the same time, Bored Ape Club floor price dropping over 50% here. Lonely Apes doesn't attract women and more. So I already pointed this out many months before. Be careful with NFTs here. I don't think that Bored Apes could be a good investment right now here. I also think that CryptoPunks are a good investment. But yeah, be careful what we're currently seeing right now in this market. But with NFTs here, because volume across the NFT industry is falling off very quickly and very hard as well. So be careful with that. NFTs, a little bit of an overhyped thing, and it's right now really coming down pretty massively. So yeah, we can see volume coming down massively for the NFTs. That could be, of course, a potential very bad thing here. At the same time, I want to be talking back in towards the chart, and let me see if you guys have any questions right now on this market, and let me know if you do have anything. Short at 20x, yeah, I will probably do open some shorts on the new Luna because I don't really love it. But if he made a loss, why should he still be taxed? Now, the whole point here is that he already should have paid the tax. That's the whole point. So why is he still going to get taxed if he made a loss? Terraform Labs had to pay that 78.5 million in taxes to South Korea, and they decided, oh, let's wait a little bit here. Maybe we have a market dip. Let's wait a little bit here. Let's wait a little bit here. And then the market crashed, and now they still have to be paying it. So that's the reason why, it doesn't matter. You make a certain amount of money, you have to pay the tax for it. Whenever you pay, you probably have like 3 or 4 years before you have to be paying those taxes, or maybe in Korea over there, in South Korea, it will be a little bit different how it exactly works here. But you just have to pay it, and they don't care if your Bitcoin value drops here. They don't care if your Luna value drops. You just have to be paying your money. So that's pretty interesting. DXY target 106. Yeah, DXY is indeed strengthening a little bit here on this market. That is definitely true. That is, of course, a thing that we could be potentially get worried about. Dollar index, of course, moved up exponentially over here. Is forming a hidden bullish divergence. Could be leading towards a little bit higher prices today here. And if the dollar index does decide to be moving up, it means, of course, that the price section for equities are going to have a little bit of a harder time today here. At the same time, let me quickly see what you guys are saying here in the chat. What's your opinion about Ethereum? The moon call called for a 1K lol. 1K is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, if we're going to talk about a 1K Ethereum, we're talking as well about an 15K Bitcoin approximately, because that's literally that's basically if you divide them both by 50% here. Do you think Bitcoin is going to reach 15K? I think that's a little bit of a ridiculous target. Do I think that I don't know, maybe I don't know exactly where it's talking about. Maybe this head and shoulders pattern is going to be breaking down. Let me see what the price target is here. He's probably talking about the price on it. This is minus. This is even going minus. So no, I don't know. I think that 1K is a little bit of a ridiculous target. Of course, a target that we can be aiming for is pretty interesting. It's going to be that 1.5K. If Bitcoin decides to fall even harder, 1.5K is going to be the target we have to be aiming for right now. And of course, also, we are currently trading still on very strong horizontal support. But it's pretty funny to see many of these people starting to become very bearish, because that's, for me, of course, also a pretty bullish signal. we should be looking at right now. Someone is saying follow the moon phases. I'm personally not a big fan of that because if I'm going to look at that, we can clearly see it has not been necessarily the best indicator of this market. Of course, sometimes it has been right, like here, like here, like here, not here, and potentially right now it's going to be right again here. So yeah, guys, we are having full moon. Full moon does indicate that the price action is going to rally. Will it rally in the coming 15 days here to right now? We don't know. We could be potentially, of course, have a bullish spirit in the market, but I will be definitely, yeah, not necessarily based on opinion of moon phases right now, right? So yeah, but purely for Ethereum, I don't really think we are going to be falling towards $1,000 as well. Taking into consideration the accumulation is going on right there, and of course we are indeed having some worrisome about the Ethereum price action right now, right? I have been warning you guys already about this Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation, really right now showing some weakness in this market, right? We're seeing some weakness on the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin pair. We are breaking down of our upper sloping support line, and this is definitely, of course, very bad for the Bitcoin Ethereum against Bitcoin valuation, because this does clearly indicates we are breaking down right now of a very important upward sloping support line, and this could be leading towards lower targets across this whole market, right? So my next target for Ethereum compared to Bitcoin to aim for, and of course this is going to be leading towards an increasement in the Bitcoin dominance, is going to be another 2.5% decreasement. After that, I'm going to be targeting for another 7.5% decreasement if we fail to hold on towards that level, and after that we're going to be targeting for another 6% decreasement towards the downside. So these are the targets I'm currently aiming for. If we are going to fall down here, first of all, I am right now not buying Ethereum in this region. I think it's not smart. I do agree that we should be waiting a little bit for more confirmation on either the Bitcoin chart to be showing us a bounce, or either for the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin price to decrease towards the 0.065 here. Pretty interesting to talk about that here. Also, at the same time, we can see that the Bitcoin dominance keeps continuously improving and increasing in its value. This is a thing we have been expecting. I personally am expected that we are going to see, of course, a bigger of a rally towards the upside getting created from here on this region. And altcoins can definitely take a little bit of a harder hit in the coming days ahead of ourselves. And just like back in the recovery year in 2018 for the Bitcoin dominance, we formed that higher low. We moved up exponentially in the rally up after the bear market, right? So pretty interesting to look at. We form a low, we form a higher low in the market right there. And right now we could be looking for that higher target. So once again here. So, quickly saying it, am I bullish on the Bitcoin dominance? Yes, I personally think the Bitcoin dominance is looking pretty strong right now. And I personally think that the Bitcoin dominance is going to rally. And I personally think that altcoins are going to be suffering unless Bitcoin is going to go clearly in a bullish market trend here, what we are currently not in right here. Could Ethereum start the next bull run with its 2.0 update? Yes, it definitely can. Because last time around, Ethereum also started a big rally, right? So the big rally over here also got created due to Ethereum. Because let me overlay the Ethereum compared to US dollar price for a second, right? And let me explain to you guys out there what happened exactly over there. This rally over here got started not by Bitcoin, in my opinion. You can also see Ethereum front run this market the whole time. Also had a little bit of a less significant dip here, and also in terms of the Bitcoin dominance, I can maybe even also let me go over Ethereum dominance, right? You can also see Ethereum dominance has been spiking massively in this period over here. So the blue line is the Ethereum dominance, the orange line is the Ethereum price action. But yeah, I was already said to everyone out there, Ethereum really led in towards this big market rally towards the upside over here. Why? Is because this was the period that the hard fork update, the hard fork update for Ethereum came here, the London hard fork update. That update resulted in, of course, a burning mechanism getting added towards the Ethereum price action, and potentially for sometimes making it deflationary. And of course, with this other update that's going to get followed anytime soon, it will start to become deflationary if there are enough transactions on the market. So pretty interesting what we saw over there. And at the same time, we saw the Ethereum dominance basically rise very quickly towards the upside right here. Ethereum dominance, basically rise very hardly towards the upside, dragged Bitcoin also towards the upside and created a hype across the market, and also resulted in that massive correction. Ethereum, in the end of the day here, did not correct it so hard as Bitcoin did here. And in the end of the day, the rally that Bitcoin created in October was more of a Bitcoin rally and not an Ethereum rally. This was an Ethereum rally, Bitcoin rally, then Bitcoin came down, and Ethereum started to be rallying, just like the previous all-time high as well in the markets. And then we came down here, and Ethereum was holding up a little bit better, of course, like you can see. And this was the peak of the altcoins, right? December 2021, just like all the way back in basically 2018, where altcoins were also peaking after Bitcoin peaked here. Here, this was the peak of Ethereum. This was this was the peak of the Ethereum dominance. This was the peak of Bitcoin, and this was the peak of the Ethereum price here. So Ethereum was holding up very better on the movement towards the downside. And right now what we can see here is that the Ethereum dominance is once again falling very hardly, and Ethereum is just losing a little bit of its strength right now on this moment on the market. So yeah, pretty interesting to see. It has been still rising compared to the low of January, compared to where we're currently trading on. But definitely, there is a big possibility that Ethereum is going to be resulting in the lead-in phase here for the next big bull run on the market. Also, like you can see here, if we're going to look at these Ichimoku clouds, we do know that if we're having green clouds, that we can be expecting a bounce from them. And if we're having red clouds, we have to be breaking above them. And as soon as you do break above them, you're starting a big rally towards the upside. And you can expect support getting found on those regions. If you're breaking below them, however, you do know that you're going to start a downtrend again here. And you can clearly see we are getting rejected. You break above it, not fail to hold on towards support. So what is going to be very important for Bitcoin to do so right now is to break above these clouds again here. If we do break above these clouds, we can start to see some more bullishness across the market. But as long as we're not seeing them, we are definitely staying a little bit more bearish, and we're staying in this neutral territory for Bitcoin. Like you can see, Bitcoin has traded below this range several times a year. And that is why, we are right now also a little bit more bearish on this market. And the main levels to be breached for right now here. In this case, they're still trading very high here. It's going to be definitely somewhere around that 40k region. But of course, we're not going to front run our shoes, because we're first of all going to be looking at that important level to be breaking above that 35 to 36k of horizontal support and resistance. Flat correction prediction. I've already pointed out the flat correction prediction a very while ago on my channel. Of course, you can see it over here on my pinned comment on my Twitter account. I posted already a while ago the flat correction prediction. Sorry, the flat correction. And what you can also see over here is that, let me go towards the right chart, right? I think it's this chart. Yeah, it's this chart over here, where you're basically going to create a fake out, of course, right? So this is a pretty interesting chart here. Let me open the S&P 500 and let me set it up correctly. This is, of course, the S&P 500 on the right side, and you can clearly see that this is, of course, a typical reversal pattern for Bitcoin. For equities in general. You're going to create a massive rally towards the upside. You're going to create a massive fake out on the lower side. You're faking out a lot of investors. It could take definitely a while, guys. We can trade on this lower range for quite a while for Bitcoin. I am not saying we're going to reverse towards the upside and of course trade on 60k by the end of this month or something. No, not at all. But what I'm trying to be pointing out over here is that if Bitcoin does decide, of course, to be trading on this region over here for quite a while, this is going to be, of course, allowing us for a huge opportunity across this market, because this is indeed a flat correction, basically on the market, and that is pretty interesting to look out for right now here. This could be, of course, a major movement that Bitcoin could create. It's very similar about what the S&P 500 did all the way back in 2001 and 2009 here. And that is why I do think it's a major opportunity for this market. So guys, what do you think about this this potential movement that could be coming? It's typical. Fear is that extreme. Guys, you have to put everything together, right? And I was seeing some other videos from CNBC, and they were saying, okay, guys, so we're right now having fear at all-time highs. We're having an extreme big correction on the equity market. We're seeing all these things coming together, right? We're having a lot of uncertainty, but it could also be already priced in terms of the interest rate hikes here. And demand is right now decreasing already by itself here, because the supply chains are getting affected right now by the high inflation, right? So maybe the Federal Reserve doesn't necessarily need to be hiking the interest rate so hard from here on. And also, it's pretty interesting. The Central Bank of Europe is currently only planning to hike the interest rates in July for only 25 basis points in Europe. Like they're so behind the curve. It's crazy what they're currently doing in Europe. Europe is massively behind the curve of inflation, and that is definitely a thing to take in consideration right now for all my Europe friends here and for people that live in Europe. But Europe is massively behind the curve of inflation, and they're only planning to hike the interest rates rates by 25 basis points, while inflation in Europe is even worse than the US currently. So pretty shit. Europe countries are a little bit in shit right now, in my opinion, in terms of the high inflation. But of course, what is always happening with high inflation, guys? Many people say, oh, in high inflation, your money gets worth less. That's true. Equity markets also currently are losing value. But what we also know that always, like in the Netherlands, I yesterday was reading an article that right now the minimum payments for your loan is going to increase with 7.5%. Well, basically is once again going to create a higher demand for money. So all the prices are just going to stay higher. They're going to be bringing it down right now, but all the prices stay higher. So that is why, because inflation is always there in the monetary policy. That is why investing in equities, investing in something that cannot be getting printed is always good. And even though you may think right now these periods are certain, yes, definitely do. I do definitely agree. But your money decreases in value with time, and equities increases in value with time, because equities can't get printed. And of course, with high inflation, it means that the M2 money supply will also go exponential, because there's more ask for money. So if there's more ask for money, if there's more ask for money, the creation will still not stop, right? And you can clearly see how exponential this chart is going. The money, basically M2 money stock is this the ask for money, supply of money, everything combined. And you can see there's a higher amount of ask for money, there's a higher amount of supply of money, and that means that we're in a death spiral. Well, it's probably not going to get stopped, of course. It's going to go slow down. You can see it is going exponential right now, and they want to be slowing it down just like over here. But like you can see, this is an exponential rally. And do I really think this exponential rally is going to stop here with the money printing? No, I don't think so. And that is why I think, in the end of the day, Bitcoin is going to come on top of it. In the end of the day, equities are going to come on top of it. In the end of the day, you're going to be better off by holding equities. In the end of the day, you're going to lose more value in your money. And just many people are just not seeing it. Yeah, that's the only problem we're currently experiencing right now in this market. So yeah, do your own research. I'm definitely a big fan that you guys do your own research. But this is definitely the time that things are starting to become a little bit more interesting. This is the time to pay attention and not to lose attention. But anyways, guys, this was already it for today's update stream. As someone is saying, Europe is going in a blah, blah, blah hole. And I totally agree. Europe is definitely a big problem. Hyperinflation or debt defaults or both, bloodbath economic depression in 2023. I mean, the soft landing is also a very weird thing that Jerome Powell said, because he can't promise a soft landing. We are probably going to get him not even close to soft landing. What is the warning about? Make sure to go back in towards the stream here where I discussed Terra Luna. There you can basically see what I think is very bad about Terra Luna right now, and where I warn you about the hard fork we're currently getting. So guys, anyways, this was that for today's update video here on the market. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, smash up the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.